I am using 93% lean ground beef. It is low in calories and it will create Bolognese flavor closest to the original. On a preheated skillet, I spread the meat evenly. No need for extra oil. Sprinkle it with 1/4 teaspoon of dried basil and oregano each, hot pepper flakes, sweet paprika, black pepper, and salt to taste. Start with 1/4 teaspoon and adjust the salt to your liking. You don't want to oversalt it. When the beef browns, I start breaking it down in smaller pieces. It doesn't have to be cooked all the way. We will finish cooking in the sauce later. Take the meat off the skillet and set it aside for later. We're going to prepare the vegetables now. I am going to use 1 whole orange pepper and 1/2 of large onion and garlic. You can use any pepper, red, yellow or green, it doesn't matter. Dice it. We are going to do the same with the onion. Because the dish cooks very quickly, it is better to prepare and chop the veggies before you start cooking. The main ingredient of the sauce are tomatoes, and I find that the type of tomatoes you use in a tomato sauce makes a big difference in flavor. After all, it is the main ingredient. And that is why I am going to use a San Marzano style tomatoes. They are rich and meaty, very sweet and thick, not like the other canned tomatoes I used to buy. And next I will prepare a spice mix for my spaghetti bolognese sauce. The obvious black pepper and salt, oregano and basil, red pepper flakes and sweet paprika, exactly what I used for the meat. I like to add seasoning to every part of a dish that I'm cooking. When I don't do that, it feels like I'm missing something in the final meal. Have you ever noticed that? Leave a comment below. 1 teaspoon oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of dried basil, some fresh ground black pepper, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon of hot pepper flakes, and 1 teaspoon of sweet paprika. Make sure to prepare all that ahead of time. Once you start cooking, you're not going to have that much time to do this, and you just may burn one thing or two. After the meat was taken off the pan, it is time for all the veggies to go in. And no, you do not need any extra fat for greasing your pan. The goal here is to soften and slightly brown the veggies. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. You want to keep an eye on them as they burn fast. I have it here on them on medium-high heat. If the heat is too low, the veggies will cook and they won't taste that great. This is very important. You can add a bit water instead of oil to deglaze the pan slightly. And it is time for tomatoes. I noticed that this cast iron pan does not like acidy foods, so it is probably not the best pan to use, I'll be honest. I like cooking in it, but
do not like how it looks after I cook tomatoes. Something to keep in mind. Feel free to leave a comment and tell me what experience do you have. Do you see how thick the tomatoes are? I like to break them down on the pan like so. Spices go in and I will cook it for about 30 minutes. Now for the pasta. I like to use this Banza pasta. It is a chickpea product, tastes very similar to regular pasta, has similar amount of calories, but it has way more protein. It is more expensive though. So if regular pasta is what you have, it is okay as well. The little cheat trick I do for myself is mix it with these miracle noodles that are practically tasteless, but with barely any extra calories. They add lots of volume. I don't like to eat them by themselves as they have no flavor and texture is not as great as noodles. That way, I just mix 2 ounces of dried pasta for 190 calories and add these miracle noodles. It tastes great together and I feel like I had insanely huge bowl of food. Make sure you rinse these noodles well before you use them. So the whole package of Banza pasta, the dry one, is about 8 ounces. I usually cook it for a minute or two, shorter than the instructions. Make sure to salt the water heavily. Reserve some pasta water after it finished cooking. After the sauce cooked for 30 minutes, I am adding the beef and cook it for another 10 minutes or so. If you feel that the sauce is too thick, you can thin it out with the pasta water we just reserved. I always do that. I always reserve a cup or so just in case. And this is how I make sure I have the right serving of pasta. I know I had 8 ounces of dried pasta, and after cooking, I weighed the whole pasta again. So if I wanted to only take 2 ounces of dried pasta, which is a quarter of the whole batch, I will divide the amount by 4 and add that amount of ounces to my plate. I add the miracle noodles and mix it all together. And that way, I kind of fool myself into thinking I have tons of regular pasta, and it actually tastes like that. So all this food is for 3 people. So I'm getting tons of food for under 500 calories with over 40 grams of protein per serving. And it is absolutely delicious. It looks, smells, and tastes like the real deal, but it's much lighter. For more pasta dishes, check out this group of videos, and that is where I'm going to see you next.